the Bowels of Netflix, where your fearless co-hosts Isaac and Larry force each other to watch the worst pieces of shit on Netflix. We will go over every bad edit, all the broken dialogue, all the wooden acting, and laugh along the way, because this is the Bowels of Netflix! Welcome to the Bowels of Netflix. My name is Isaac, and as always, my fearless co-host, Mr. Larry. How are you doing this week, Larry?
I feel like a disappointing sequel.
Yeah, disappointing sequel. Why would you feel like that? Like, have you had a past life, and you're living this life, and it's not as good?
I mean, oof. That's real fucking heavy, man.
What celebrity might have you been in your past life?
That's a good question.
Judy Garland?
No, she's got talent.
Yeah, but she also got all fucked up with drugs and shit, and you're straight edge, so
yes,
that might be like this. You learned this lesson in your new life.
Yeah, no, maybe I'm Amy Winehouse.
Well, she lived while you were alive.
Well, you're asking me about a bunch of old celebrities, and I barely know.
Old Amy Winehouse died like 3 weeks ago, or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh man, I tried to think of something that was like a year old and popular then, and I don't even know because I'm just so out of touch with reality.
What celebrities died recently? Leonard Nimoy,
Billy Mays.
Billy. Oh, well, no, that was a while ago too.
Why is it the first person I thought of? Was it Leonard Nimoy like a year ago?
Yeah, Billy Mays was like 5 years ago on
David
a cocaine
Bowie,
bender on an airplane.
God rest his soul. Yeah, his heart Billy Mays' heart exploded on an airplane, right?
Yeah, cocaine related, for sure. Yeah. He might have been snorting OxyClean and thought it was cocaine. That might have been the problem.
Is it not insane that you can be a commercial mogul and just that like gets you into the wild and wacky world of cocaine? To me, that seems like a logical jump, but I guess it's not.
I don't know for sure. I haven't lived that life yet, or maybe I have.
Do you think the flex tape guy? Have you seen the flex tape thing? You think he's on doing speedballs of coke?
He's gotta be, just to have the energy level required for those late night commercials.
Yeah.
Which that's the thing I miss most about like living 10 to 15 years ago is watching TV at 2 a.m. and just seeing those fucking infomercials because nothing else was on.
Oh my god! And Comedy Central used to play the Girls Going Wild ones, and I remember a young Larry like furiously masturbating to those,
right?
Bereft of other pornography.
That's another weird position in history we hold of like the dawnings of internet porn.
Yeah,
like just jerking off to like 30-second like looped clips that took like 5 minutes to download.
Just like, and you know how pictures, this still happens today. They'll like download from the top down and like bars.
Oh yeah.
So you're just kind of like, oh, there's the eyes. I know what's next.
You ever see glitch porn? I think that's a subreddit.
No.
That's interesting, where, like, all of a sudden you'll be watching porn and then it'll glitch out and, like, her head will just, like, start growing on top of itself.
Oh my god, that sounds awesome and terrifying.
Yes. Okay, God, we are the Bowels of Netflix. For fuck's sake. What's wrong with us? We do this podcast where we force each other to watch the worst movies we can possibly find on Netflix because we hate each other. We exist on the internet. Twitter and Facebook are both at Bowels of Netflix. You can send us an email at bowelsofnetflix@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. And this week, Larry, I have forced you to watch a movie, a sequel to a great movie. And I'm curious if this is just as good as the original, because it probably is, right?
You fucking know it's not.
It's not really? Okay. Well, what did you watch this week?
Well, this week I had to watch the sequel to my favorite Disney movie, and that sequel was Kronks New Groove.
Sequel to The Emperor's New Groove, which is a damn good film.
It is the best Disney movie in my opinion. Now
it's up there for me, very high.
Okay, maybe it's not the best. Lion King and not Lion King. Wow, Aladdin. I think Aladdin has it beat, but I like Emperor's New Groove more. I think it's a funnier movie. Kind of underperformed at the box office, but did super crazy well in DVD sales. which kind of explains because The Emperor's New Groove came out in 2000. Kronks New Groove came out in 2005, which bit of a gap, just a
little bit,
a smidge, just five years. And the weirdest part to me is they got the entire same voice cast, which
oh really? They got
really
John Goodman even came back.
Everyone,
because John Goodman was in the original Flintstones, but did not bother to come back for Flintstones Viva Rock Vegas.
Well, they just had to do voices, and I'm pretty sure that John Goodman and David Spade could get their voices knocked out in like an hour.
Right, yeah. Because they are consummate professionals.
They don't have giant parts. They got Eartha Kitt.
Okay,
it's amazing, but we'll get into that later. But yeah, Kronks New Groove, 5.9 out of 10 stars on IMDb.
Oof.
As we're learning, IMDb is kind of shit for ratings.
Yeah, you can't trust the general public.
This one, now, much like I said last week, I think I have to or not last week, I'm sorry, 2 weeks ago for Cabin Fever. I think I had the trumpet. I think Kronks New Groove might be tentatively say the best movie I've reviewed for the show yet.
Really?
Yeah, we'll get into it. I'll talk about it later. It just sucks. It's not, like, nothing really offended me. And as we know, the best part of the show for me is when I'm screaming and hateful and want to die and also kill you in the process.
Right,
so
of course.
When it's just, like, it's not even that boring. It just kind of exists. It's just kind of, it's Kronks New Groove. It's the shadow of it's Peter Pan's shadow, you know? It got away and it tried to make its own movie career, and it's like, oh, dear, that's adorable, but no. So this is the first time on IMDb the 5.9 rating might be at least partially acceptable because, you know, it's a Disney movie. There's money was put into this, like money and time. Yeah. Not much, but
right. I was thinking we should maybe throw this in too, and I don't know if it'd be better before or after the review, but we should give it our own 1 out of 10 ratings.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
So, like, compared to IMDb, it comes in at 5.9. Like, what would you personally put your rating for this movie at?
Ooh, that is a good question. I'm gonna say Kronks New Groove, just as a movie on its own, unrelated to me. I'd say it's like maybe a 4.5, 4. Let's keep it around numbers 4. I would probably personally rate it a 2, I'll give it a 3. Let's say 3 because there's a lot of personal disappointments and resentments involved in that. But I don't know. I don't think it's as bad as a lot of things could have been. And IMDb has The Emperor's New Groove, the original movie, which I'm going to talk about a whole fucking lot, as a 7.3 stars, which I think is honestly a little low. I think that should be more like an 8.5.
That's not a big difference. 7.3 to 5.9. That's 1.4 points.
It's a small gap.
Yeah, that's frightening.
On Rotten Tomatoes, wow, the tomato meter is sitting at 0% for Kronks New Groove.
Do they have actual critical reviews?
6 reviews are counted. Yeah, the average rating of 4.5 out of 10. That seems wrong.
The way they, because I think the tomato meter is the percentage of positive reviews.
Okay,
so if there's no,
there's only 6 reviews and they're all negative. Like the reviews here. 2 out of 5, 2 out of 4, 2 out of 5, 2.5 out of 5, 5 out of 10. So yeah, everyone's giving it about a 5 out of 10, more or less.
Okay, so
about a 4, 10, 5 out of 10. It's just kind of there. Like it's depressing. It depresses me. That's what it is. Okay, so like I said, 2005. Let's see if there was a budget. I don't know. Is Disney honest with their budgets? I don't know how they do that kind of stuff.
I hope Disney's not money laundering, but possibly.
I'm not seeing a budget here. Okay. So there's not a lot of preamble. I'm going to go out on a limb. Excuse me. I'm going to go out on a limb and assume everyone has seen at least a Disney movie if you've seen this show. When I say a Disney movie, I'm talking a main Disney movie, like a franchise movie, not, fucking Aladdin 3, The Return of Jafar. I'm talking like one of the heavy hitter Disney movies. And I'm putting Emperor's New Groove on there. Near the end, I think the period started to run out. And also, the older I get, the less I know about Disney movies. I know some people my best friend's family, super hardcore into Disney. The Disney fanatics know everything. Watch The Little Mermaid 26,000 times. I'm not a hugest fan. I think there's some very good stuff. There's some stuff I grew up with in my childhood that I've always loved, but I don't have a real strong connection to Disney properties. Yeah, kind of, except for Emperor's New Groove. I've always sort of loved that. So that's I can turn that on and watch it and be happy with it and be like, yeah, I'll watch this movie again, no problem. And like I had said when you assigned me this movie last episode, I had seen it before a long time ago. And, I was younger and not as full of hate and the vitriol for human existence then, so I didn't hate it. It didn't see it for what it was, just kind of thought, yeah, well, this sucks. And I kind of expected to go into it and really want to tear at a new asshole for not being the first movie, but I just would feel kind of, like, pointless. I don't know. It was hard to feel real emotion about this flick. And that's sort of the excuse me. That's sort of the problem with Disney sequels. Like, they're well known to all pretty much suck. Like, of all of them I've ever seen, I can't think of one that was really stellar, especially compared to the first movie. And a lot of them, like Kronks New Groove, were direct-to-video. Kronks New Groove played in no theaters. I actually remember commercials for it because, like, the scene that was big in the commercials was also in the movie, and I was like, oh, holy shit. When I was a kid, they played that commercial all the time. When I was 15, but I don't want to say it was a kid. I don't know if that still counts as kid, but I'm going to call it a kid because I'm old and jaded.
If you had not yet tasted virgin blood, you were still a child.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm fine with that. Yeah. No. Good. So I guess I would stop being a child. Let's see. 1, 2, 3. You know what? It's not worth going into right now.
Yeah, you don't want to give yourself away to the cops beforehand.
But to go into a little more, Kronks New Groove compared to other Disney sequels is kind of a strange bird. Like, it's just sort of an imitation of the first movie. Like, Lion King 2 is not Lion King 1 just with a different character. Lion King 2 is, like, about his son or some shit and, like, Scar's nephew or some fucking bullshit. Mulan 2 is about, like, Mulan and the captain's relationship, and I think Eddie Murphy Dragon is the villain of that movie because it's weird. But, like, Kronks New Groove is just the Emperor's New Groove, but with Kronk, and the stakes aren't as high. So, really also, it's sort of like this is pointless. Like when you... Alright, I should get into the actual review here, because that'll all be part of it. So, to recap the Emperor's New Groove, for any of you who haven't seen it, and get used to hearing me say Emperor's New Groove, because they made their fucking movie title 3 words long. The Emperor's New Groove is... fucking sake. It's about a teenager, about age 18, Emperor Kuzco. I actually just watched it this morning before work, because I couldn't sleep. And I was like, I want to watch Emperor's New Groove again, because I just watched Kronks New Groove, and I need to get the taste of that in my mouth. So it's about a young Emperor Kuzco. He's a prick. He's 18. He's everything. The world revolves around him. He's actually, takes place in Incan times. They're Incan. And he's quite literally the king of the world to Incas. It's a god king.
So they're tattoo artists? They're Incan?
Fuck you. You're better than that, and you know it.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not.
Yes, you are. So, chugga. Oh, shit! Explosion. Millions are dead. That's my train of thought. Yeah, so, and he is a selfish bastard, and he has an evil wizardess advisor named Yzma, who has a henchman named Kronk, and he fires her because she tries to usurp power from him. So she poisons him and turns him into a llama. And he has adventures with a village chieftain who he was going to demolish his house to build a resort home named Pacha. And they have misadventures. And eventually Kuzco learns to become a decent, nice human being. And he and Pacha stay friends. And Yzma gets... outed from the palace, and everyone's happy, and Disney movie stuff. It's a lot more lighthearted than a lot of the other Disney movies. Like, there's really that's another reason I really like it. It's not Jafar in Aladdin has his humor moments, but he's still kind of a badass. And he's still like, at the end, he's like, I am the evil wizard genie. I will fuck your face hole. But Yzma and Kronk, who are the villains of the first movie, are very loony and really they're constantly bumbling. They really never have the upper hand in any situation.
Mm-hmm.
Which makes it more about Kuzco learning to become, like, a nice guy and not an entitled asshole.
Yeah, it's less just, like, straight good versus evil compared to, Kuzco kind of battling himself and developing as a person. And you get some of that with Aladdin, where he learns it along the way. But Emperor's New Groove handled that better.
Mm-hmm. A lot of Disney movies give a villain to overcome, where Yzma is kind of just like, she's not so much like the direct antagonist as she's like the last hurdle of him, like, becoming a human again and then having to deal with the consequences of his actions up to that point, So anyway, that's what I really like about it compared to other Disney movies, which I love Aladdin. Aladdin's fantastic. But I think the nuances in Emperor's New Groove are more lighthearted, and because of that, it gets more introspective, which, in case you've never heard me fucking ramble, I love introspection. So, anywho, that's the first movie. So, this one is the second movie. This is Kronk's movie. Kronk, who in the first movie was a comedy relief henchman. At the end of that movie, he becomes a fry cook, because he shows a passion for that in the first movie. So that is where we're going to pick up several years later, maybe like 1 or 2, with Kronks New Groove. Our sequel opens up with a restaurant where Kronk works, and we see a shot of it, and we get a little bit of Kronk voiceover, and suddenly it explodes in a massive explosion of cheese. As this is a comedy cartoon, it's the kind of stuff you see happen all the time, so I'm going to take off my super intense critical hat that I usually wear for most things related to this show.
Right. It's made for children, so it gets a pass on some goofy things.
Right, and it's more believable than Leo the Lion, which was shit. It really just couldn't look at it. Even a kid could look at it and be like, that's not right, that lion's a Nazi. The elephant was a Nazi, sorry. So we get a Kronk voiceover telling us about what's going on. For those of you who have not seen Emperor's New Groove, first of all, shame on you. Second of all, he is voiced by the eternal Patrick Warburton, who voices Joe from Family Guy. He's the Tick. He's great, and I can't do an impression of his voice well, but if you hear it, like it's iconic.
He's also Dave Putty from Seinfeld.
Yes,
for older listeners, and plays Lemony Snicket in the Netflix series of Unfortunate Events.
Oh, how is that
show? I just watched the first episode yesterday. Actually, it's pretty good.
How about that?
It's not. Yeah, I don't know. It's not amazing. I think I'll keep watching it. But
did you like the Jim Carrey movie?
Well, it's it's continuing that series of books, but it's not related to the Jim Carrey movie. But
okay, all right.
Neil Patrick Harris. You should watch it because of that. Because you have the biggest heart on for him. He plays Count Olaf. He is made up to be ugly and villainous, so I'm not sure if you'll want to have sex with him more or less.
You had me at Neil.
Kneel before me, peasants.
Also, my dog isn't here. I may have to stop for a minute and take him out because he's looking at me with big sad eyes. And take him out, I mean out of the room, because he just fucking pooped.
Right.
Big dumb
bastard. He heard you talking about Neil Patrick Harris, and he's like, you love someone more than me, Daddy?
He did come over and lay his head on my lap and is looking up at me with the big sad eyes. So anyway, yeah. So, like I said before, they got every voice from the original, and it really just baffles me. And they actually add mildly famous voice talent as a new character later on, which is, I don't know, who the fuck thought Kronks New Good was going to be Groove? Kronks New Groove was going to be good. I mean, you want your movie to make money, but how did they get all these actors in again? Like, did they have that much residual money to pay David Spade to fucking reprise his role as Kuzco as like a minor character in this? I don't get it.
I don't think David Spade commands a high salary, to be fair. John Goodman, maybe I could see that. But
yeah, all right, that's fair.
David Spade was Joe Dirt.
Joe Dirt was insanely popular where we grew up because we grew up in fucking... well, you grew up in, and I am still here, Hickville, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, you drive past the KKK bait shop on the way to work. Don't ever forget it.
Every single day, I drive past a business owned by some kind of dragon of the KKK. Every single day. I have to look at that and think, yep.
And not even business. It's not like his interior design studio. It's a bait shop. He sells worms. He sells worms for a living.
I've been in it with my father. It's...
I find that easy to believe.
Yeah, it's weird, man. Don't come to Pennsylvania. It's bad here. I'm trying to leave. I'm not. I have a good job. So she digress. Cheese explosion. Kronk talking, and we need to talk about the animation. So for those of you who've seen Disney movies, and again, I'm going to assume at least all of you have seen at least one. Disney animation's pretty fucking good. It's really hard to take a shit on how well stuff Disney is animated. I mean, even I, who hates everything, have to admit it's almost flawless. Like it's you can't really go wrong with Disney animation on their main movies.
Yeah. They've been doing it for 80 years.
Yeah, Kronks New Groove definitely got the third string team. Kronk was definitely illustrated by some interns. Now they're well-trained interns. They're Harvard interns. But they're definitely interns, and you can tell that also because they knew, well, this isn't going into theaters, and we're not going to put a ton of money into this. So let's cut some corners, and it suffers a bit in the animation. Like it's fluid and it's consistent, but it's not, it's not the same level. It doesn't quite scan at some points. Some of the movements of everybody are kind of jerky and kind of like, that's, I'm not an animator, but I can tell that's not the best work.
It's interesting you can tell the difference between top tier and low tier Disney, even though low tier Disney is still good.
Yeah.
But it's just that it's perceptible to the more or less untrained eye.
Oh, for sure. I'm definitely untrained. It's very noticeable. Like if you watch a couple minutes of this movie, watch a couple minutes of the Emperor's New Groove, which is on Hulu currently. It's not on Netflix, I wish. And then watch Kronks New Groove, just like 5 minutes of each. You'll be able to tell the difference. It's really noticeable. And I think that's kind of interesting. I wonder how they, measure their animators. You hear, horror stories that working for Disney's like working for Hitler, but obvious Jew hatred aside, I don't know.
Well, I heard an interesting story recently, too, that Lion King was being produced around the same time as, I think, Pocahontas. And everyone at the studio thought Pocahontas, that's going to be the runaway smash. Lion King is maybe hit or miss. So the second tier guys got put on Lion King. And it turns out Lion King was fucking cultural phenomenon. And Pocahontas was it's another Disney movie. It's fine. It's okay.
Pocahontas is one of the ones I don't like as much.
I've never seen that one, actually. That's one of the few Disney movies of the 80s, 90s that I never saw.
I had not seen it since I was 5, and I had no fond memories of it. And I just watched it again with an ex a couple months ago, and it was all right. I was surprised at how much I kind of still liked it. Mm-hmm. The Grandma Willow character still confuses me, but hey, talking trees, man, what the fuck ever. Pocahontas is a lot of sidekicks. Okay, she's got a lot of fucking sidekicks. Mulan had a lot of sidekicks, too.
You can't have too many sidekicks.
You can 100% have too many sidekicks.
No.
She's got 4.
No. I mean, it's if you have more than 2, something's wrong.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. They both have more than 2. But this is about Kronk, who is a sidekick, which is why he gets the sequel. So Kronk says his life was fine until today, but now he's doomed.
So... This is Iago. If Iago got a movie, would this be similar?
No. Kronk had a big part in the first movie. He's not a bit part.
Iago's pretty big.
Is he?
Iago's got 10 minutes of screen time.
Okay, Kronk has more than 10 minutes. Because Kronk and Yzma are a unit. You never see... And they're the villains of the first one.
Okay.
You never see Yzma without Kronk. Except in, the very, very end when he... Because also... as the final confrontation between the good guys and bad guys in the first movie, Kronk becomes a good guy. He turns on Yzma because she's villainous, and he's good-hearted. That's this is not a redemption story. In Kronks New Groove, he's already redeemed. So, Iago's not quite the right... Because I was actually trying to think of what I could compare it to for people who either haven't seen Emperor's New Groove or haven't seen it in a long time. Yeah, it's tough to say. It's kind of like if anyone here knows Breaking Bad, it's kind of like if you made a show about Badger and Skinny Pete. Like, it wouldn't be terrible, but it's Badger and Skinny Pete. They don't add much to the plot. I wish I could think of something better than that off the top of my head, but yeah.
Yeah, well, that's fair. Like, they're fine in Breaking Bad, but they have no right leading a movie.
No, and neither does Kronk, and it's going to show real quick. So Kronk says his wow, Jesus, I cannot read or speak today. Kronk says his life was fine until today, but now he's doomed. I already read that fucking line, you fat piece of shit. He says he wishes he could turn back the clock to a better time being earlier that same day. You've all seen at least one Disney comedy. There's a ton of minor gags. They're all over the place.
Yeah.
They tried, I'm going to use gigantic air quotes, it's a laugh a minute. It's not, but that's what they go for. So, there's a million minor gags I'm just going to breeze right over because they're not funny, and you don't need every fucking... Even though I'm the details guy, because I'm a lunatic, it's not important. There's one that I fucking love with all my heart, and I'm going to gush about it later.
Okay.
We get the beginnings of a funky song coming in while we see the title sequence. Kronk, now a happy chef, as portrayed in the first movie. He's a very good cook. He's an adept cook and a novice evil henchman. The smell of his food makes everyone in town happy. The funk song playing is kind of middling. Now, I love funk, so I enjoyed it, but as far as Disney songs go, it's kind of average. The lyrics talk about his actions in the first movie, and kind of the point being hammered home is to encourage Kronk to, quote-unquote, be true to his groove, which is one of the major themes of this movie. The first movie described the groove is the way in which the Emperor lives his life, and, him overcoming his selfishness and being a braggart and all that is his new groove, quote-unquote. This is sort of where I take issue with the movie. Kronk never gets a new groove. Kronk is just... This whole movie is just sort of reinforcing his own groove.
Right, because he's already redeemed himself in the original movie.
Yeah.
So he has his new groove.
Yeah, there's never a new groove. It's like he briefly tries on some grooves in the store and checks the price tags and takes selfies to see how the grooves look, but he never commits. So he's always in his original groove. Yeah, so it makes the title, it's sort of, watching it the second time, I'm like, well, this title kind of sucks, but it's, right. You gotta have a franchise. Yeah.
You can't not call it that.
Right.
What do you do,
thank God they didn't
Kronk's
call
Big
it...
Adventure?
Thank God they didn't call it Emperor's New Groove 2, because David Spade's barely in it.
Right, yeah.
So the song is going along. Everybody loves Kronk. Everybody in town's his friend. And as the song ends, the film reel spools up, and we cut to Emperor Kuzco himself, the protagonist and titular emperor of Emperor's New Groove. And, like I said, they actually yanked David Spade out of whatever I assume is a literal hill of cocaine in order to reprise his role as Kuzco. Allegedly. I actually don't hate David Spade, unless he did a rape and I missed the headline. But
I think he's okay.
Did he do a rape?
I don't think he's done a rape.
Okay, I feel like I was worried for a little bit, because I feel like I when I wrote that line, I had to look and think, oh,
you had to check, right?
Did David Spade do a rape?
Hey Siri, did David Spade rape anyone?
He's got kind of a greasy vibe. Sorry, David, bro, I'm sorry. I love you, but,
If I saw you at a bus stop, I'd worry you might rape me. I'd be afraid.
Oh, Lord. All right. God damn it. So, Kuzco cuts in and out at random points in this movie to give us commentary about what's on screen. It's kind of boring and pointless. They're few and far between, and there's nothing to really say about it. He's a huge... That character is a huge part of what made the first movie great. So, seeing him here just kind of makes the heart yearn. It's kind of like, oh, man, I remember the great adventure we had the first time, and now he's going to be just like the audience. He's like MST3K, but not in it enough. He's like 2 minutes of MST3K in this whole movie. It's depressing. It just makes me wish I was watching that movie. So back in the present, and by present I mean past, because most of this movie is told from the original framing story of the cheese explosion. It's not only a flashback, it's about to be a double flashback, so fucking strap in. We're talking White Chicks level nonsense.
We got layers.
Yeah, layers of cheese exploding out of a fondue pot. So, this is a flashback. Kronk is talking about how it's a great day. If you've listened to even one odd number of this show, you know that I'm a details guy, and I talk way too fucking much about fine details. But there's so many gags just coming at me, like I can't even fucking write them all down. I'd still be writing the review. My hands will form into a permanent typing claw if I try and get down every fucking tiny little joke they whiz by the screen. So, whatever, we're just gonna skip. I'll bring up the ones that I really liked or really hated, but just assume that it's constantly happening. Always. Just something is trying to be funny in the background of this fucking movie. So we get Pancha, who is the other main character from the first movie. He arrives in the restaurant with his family. For those of you who don't remember, Pancha is voiced by the also eternal, long may he live, John Goodman, who definitely did not do a rape. And that's not me being sarcastic. He definitely didn't. In the first movie, he is the one who teaches Emperor Cusco to not be such a fucking stuck-up jackass. He and his family comes in. Wow, what the hell? Lost my train of thought and also track where I was, because I swear to God I can't fucking read today. So yeah, he's voiced by John Goodman, and John Goodman and Patrick Warburton, they make an excellent team, and they really play well off each other. But they've actually, fun fact, they've only ever been in 3 movies together.
Oh.
Emperor's New Groove, Kronks New Groove, and a third one, which we might be covering by the bowels of Netflix, funny enough. But that's a story for another day. So,
wait, what? Is there a third sequel?
No, there's not. There is a TV show about Kronks New Groove, but there's an actual movie these two are in. Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry. There's an Emperor's New School is the TV show. I don't know anything about it. People tell me it's okay. I have no interest. But yeah, so that's a little fun fact, which just I happen to realize just fun happenstance that those two happen to share 3 movies together, and you're going to be watching the third. Pancha's wife, Chicha, is voiced by Wendie Malick, who
what's the name?
Wendie Malick?
No, Chicha?
Yeah.
This is old school. Do you remember Yzma, the greasy Polish fry cook we had?
That would be Chipcha.
Yes, which is Polish for pussy. Which he would, elbow you in the side anytime, a halfway attractive woman walked in and be like, "Hey, buddy, Chipcha."
Yeah. He is, oh man, I miss him. He was a real joy.
Lawn full of flamingos.
Just a pile of trash he called a compost, just full of meat. God, man. He's a trip.
Good times. He really is. Okay, sorry.
No, it's fine. Please, I can talk. We could do a whole podcast just about how insane that man is. So, Chicha is Pancha's wife. She's voiced by Wendie Malick, who you may know, and I know her from BoJack Horseman, where she voices his mom, Beatrice Horseman.
Oh, interesting.
BoJack Horseman, fun fact, my favorite television show of all time.
It's phenomenal. New season in September, I think, right?
I'm taking the day off of work to watch the new season, yes.
Good call.
I think it's the best written television show ever.
Most accurate portrayal of depression.
Seriously, it's it's inside my head. I can't. Yeah. It blows my fucking mind how good it is. If you have not watched BoJack Horseman, watch it. It's literally changed my fucking life. I may end up with a tattoo of it at some point. Anywho, Pancha and Chicha have 2 kids whose names are Pancha's son and Pancha's daughter, because I can't remember their actual names. I honestly think the girl's name is only mentioned once anyway. The boy gets a tiny little arc later on, but that's not important. Pancha comments the restaurant is packed. Kronk mentions he never had as many friends when he was an evil henchman. Fair point. Pancha wishes him the same amount of happiness until the day he dies, when in bursts the Grim Reaper. No, actually, it's just a messenger with a parrot on a stick for some reason that resembles a scythe, in silhouette. It's just a dumb sight gag, but I thought that was funny enough, like, till the day you die and the Grim Reaper bursts through the door. That'd be funny as an actual bit where it's actually the Grim Reaper and he, like, gives you a suplex. I have to make better movies in my head, Isaac, or otherwise I'd lose my fucking mind.
The Grim Reaper gives you a suplex.
So the messenger gives Kronk a letter, who freaks the fuck out and runs into the kitchen. He briefly considers escaping by becoming a shepherdess named Maria to get away from whatever dire portents the letter holds. When we are visited by two of the better characters from the first movie, Kronk's Shoulder Angel and Shoulder Devil. Now, this movie uses them a lot, and they're like, just like any Shoulder Angel and Devil in any media, they're good and bad thoughts. And they're, in this movie, they're like a big beat stick for morality. In the first movie, they're like a gentle nudge, and they're a lot of laughs, a lot of fun. They have one of my favorite scenes in the first movie. It's good stuff. They're like major characters in this, and it's like, oh no, don't.
Yeah.
Eesh.
Yeah, you don't want to see them for more than like 15 seconds at a time ever.
Yeah. The bit in the first movie where the devil's giving him reasons to kill Kuzco, and number 2 is he just does a handstand, and Kronk goes, well, I don't see how that helps. And the angel's like, no, he's got a point. I fucking love that gag. I laugh every time. Okay. Yeah, by making them main characters, more or less, they cease to be funny.
Yeah.
Kinda like Kronk.
Yeah.
So the angel and devil argue, including some weird gender stuff that's vaguely uncomfortable. 2018.
This movie is from 2005, right?
Yeah.
A little dated.
Yeah, just a little bit. It's not too bad, but the devil makes fun of the angel for wearing a dress and pearls. Okay, anyway. They just kind of fuck off then, which happens a lot, where they'll just drop some morality and then just leave. So, okay. The owner of the restaurant, Mudka, comes in and asks what the fuck Kronk is doing freaking out on company time. He explains, showing her the letter, that his father, Papi, is coming to visit. I love with all my heart the way John Goodman says Papi. Because the character's name is Papi. His father is P-A-P-I, Papi. Like, Papi, fuck me in my holes.
You've been watching a lot of Latina porn, haven't you?
No, I have not.
Oh, it's good.
Sorry. I'm sorry I disappointed you. No, but John Goodman says, Papi's coming. I can't fucking do it. I wish I had a better... not John Goodman. Patrick Warburton. I wish I had a better Patrick Warburton voice, but I can listen to him say Papi over and over. Like, I really hate the ASMR stuff, but some voices get me in the right tinkle down my fucking ball hairs. So yeah, Papi's coming to visit. He details that he wants to meet Kronk's wife and kids and see his big house on the hill. Kronk says since this is what Papi wants, Papi has to get what Papi wants, and Kronk has to have these things or Papi will never love him. Okay, that's fucking dark. Some great parenting in the Kronk household. And his major desire, Kronk, is to get a thumbs up from Papi. And when I say thumbs up, I mean both a literal and emotional thumbs up. So when I say thumbs up from Papi, I need you to realize he wants an actual thumbs up from the man.
Okay.
Kronk says he once had all those things. House and wife and, I guess, kids. But the kids thing is kind of weird, so we'll go over it later. But he lost them all. Mudka tells Kronk, hey, tell the truth. Explain to Papi just what happened. And despite everything, Kronk is still okay. And that'll take care of all of it, which, of course, it fucking will. That's how the resolution of this movie. But it's a kid's movie, so it's fine. You gotta start them small. They have to start... Not every kid in 2nd grade has a 12th grade reading level, but that's fine.
Right.
I understand that everyone in the world is dumber than I am, and it's a burden I bear every fucking day.
You're not wrong.
I'm also a massive tool and a giant idiot. So, yeah, Kronk refuses to hear any of this. He has to have what Papi wants. We briefly flash back to his childhood, how he loved to bake and talk to squirrels, which he did that in the first movie, too, the whole talking to squirrels thing.
Oh, right, yeah.
It doesn't come up much. It's sort of a side thing here, thank God. It's here... This is the point where I realize that Kronk just isn't doing it. He's just not... I'm like, oh, God, there's another hour and 20 minutes of this? Or 10 minutes of this? Of Kronk? It's all Kronk? Also, Kronk is not a fun word to say. It's not a fun word to hear. I'm tired of saying it already. I was tired of
It's
writing
a great
it.
henchman name.
Yeah. He was fine in The Emperor's New Groove. He was a comedic foil. He gets his bits in. The timing's good. It's great. It's good stuff. He's great foil to Yzma too. Excellent. Fantastic. In the limelight, nothing ever gets added to his character. He stays Kronk. He starts Kronk. He's Kronk throughout. He ends Kronk. There's no arc. I mean, there's stuff happens to him, and he makes the same decisions he made in the first movie. They're trying to push the redemption and the fact that, hey, Kronk loves his friends and he's a good person, but he started that way. There was never any growth. I'm just watching an hour and 10 minutes of Kronk gags. It's like a stand-up comedy with Kronk. It's just not good. So, yeah. Anyway, Kronk tells us how he wants. It's saying Kronk. I'm just looking at this paragraph and how many times Kronk is in it, and it just makes me hate a little more every time.
Your rating's going down. It's down to a 2.5 now.
I know, for real. Kronk tells us how he wants a house in the hill, just like Papi wanted, and we flash back to the past. Not that long in the past, because Kronk is still delivering food in this flashback, so, it's maybe like a couple of months. And again, also recall that this is now a double flashback, because Kronk in the restaurant telling the flashback is a flashback from the cheese explosion story. We're fucking white chicks territory here. I'm not kidding. Because, actual screen time of the present in this movie is, 4 minutes. But anyway, Kronk goes to deliver food to the old folks' home, which is full of bickering old people. Kronk's new BFF is Rudy, the nameless old man from the first movie, who Kuzco throws out on his ass right at the start. If you remember Emperor's New Groove, the opening has a song all about him, and he's dancing and singing, and he bumps into an old guy who throws off the song and the tempo, and Kuzco has him thrown out a window. That old guy is now a major character, because that is how you hackily write when you are a hack.
Hackily. I like that.
Yeah. So Kronk is talking to them. We see a periscope looking through a window, keeping a literal eye on Kronk. The old folks talk about the big house on the hill Kronk wants to buy to impress Papi, and we see the Periscope Eye show sudden interest in Kronk before disappearing down into the sewers. Kronk goes to leave and ends up chasing a trick coin down into the sewers. He tries to grab it and it pulls away. It's like on a string, basically. When he finally catches up with it, we find the villain of the first movie, Yzma, voiced by the late, great Eartha Kitt. I don't know her from much, besides Emperor's New Groove, but her voice for Yzma is so fucking perfect. And she has a magnificent singing voice. It's outstanding, and we'll get to that in a second. So at the conclusion of the first film, ENG, Emperor's New Groove, see how I shortened that? ENG fans will recall that she had been turned into a cat at the end of the first film, because there's a scene where they're all drinking potions of different animals. And she is forced into the Chipmunk? I put Squirrel Scouts, which is wrong. That's from Fairly Odd Parents. It's like fucking Chipmunk Rangers. Junior Chipmunks, sorry. She's forced into the Junior Chipmunks, which is an organization run by Kronk that it kind of resembles all the best parts of the Hitler Youth. I mean the Cub Scouts. Yeah, Cub Scouts is what I meant. Pardon me. So Yzma appears to have partially recovered from being a cat, as she is her old human self again, with the addition of cat ears and a tail, which, in my opinion, only makes her hotter.
All right, now we know a Larry fetish.
No, not that at all. Kronk tries to make nice with her and make small talk and leave, but Yzma says she has a proposition for him. Proposition for him, huh? No, he actually makes that joke. He goes, "Oh, ew." Oh. And then she's
Disney movie.
She's like a business proposition, because he actually, you know what? I don't mind when they put a little bit of adult humor in there, because the kids aren't going to get it. Your 7-year-old isn't going to get it. You can be like, "Hey, honey, remember how we fucking do the sex?"
Especially a lot of old Nickelodeon shows. I watched an episode of Rugrats recently, and man, that guy's bawdy as fuck. Holy shit! There's jokes about, like, Grandpa's porn collection.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't mind it. Like, when you can add that in, like, I don't have any problem with it. I thought it was an okay catch. Like, yeah, hey, throw that in there. Because you know what? That's kind of a move. That's kind of a move that the first movie would have made. That's a little more of an adult joke. Because this movie, definitely for kids. Like, I think children of all ages can enjoy Emperor's New Groove. Kronks New Groove is for children. Like, it's just not clever. It's really not. Like, very few sort of those over-the-line, I get that because I'm an adult jokes. There is one, besides this one, which is my absolute favorite, and we'll get to it. So she says she has a proposition for him. He goes, ew, because he thinks banging, which leads me to a question I had. Were they fucking?
Yeah.
Was she fucking him? Valid question to any Disney fan out there. Do you think Yzma made Kronk give her the dick?
When you phrase it like that, I think yes.
Kronk, pull the lever. The lever is my clit.
Kronk, flick my bean.
Oh, Yzma. Your tits are so wrinkled.
Oh, can we roleplay this porn? I mean, not in real life, but like audio.
That'll be, if we ever get a Patreon, it'll be a bonus episode.
Oh, God.
Yzma says she's turned herself around and wants to help the old folks out, though clearly she's still evil. Kronk's defining character trait, by the way, overwhelming stupidity. And that's just, I'm not being funny, that's his trait. So she entices him into a business proposition, and we get a repeat of the lever scene from the first movie, which was the big thing everybody loved when we were kids. Pull the lever, because that's what the trailer focused on. And it's a funny bit, because he pulls a lever. Yeah, and she falls into a pit of crocodiles and says, why do we even have that lever? It's a great joke. They do it again, and it's just sad. It's like, oh, no, you guys... It's when I hear that I realized, oh, no, you guys didn't have any ideas.
Right.
You guys didn't write a movie. You copy and pasted and added 3 episodes of a TV show over Emperor's New Groove. No, guys, no, stop, Walt. This is beyond. You're better than this, Walt. So they're down in the lab. Yzma says she's created a youth potion, and she needs Kronk to sell the youth potion to everyone, as everyone trusts him. Kronk doesn't want to take the old folks' money, but Yzma reminds him of the big thumbs up from Papi, and how money will help him achieve that. And we launch into a song here, sung by Yzma. Like I said, Eartha Kitt, fantastic talent. It's a great song.
Isn't she like a jazz singer? Isn't that like her main thing?
Probably. I'm honestly not sure. I did look it up, but I don't remember because I filled my head with a lot of information about Kronks New Groove. Yeah, I'm gonna look that up in the background here. Yeah, singer, actress, dancer. She is fantastic. Like, it's a great song. Yeah, vocal jazz, cabaret, yeah.
Damn straight.
And it shows. Like, it's... You know, is it going to stand the test of time of Disney songs? No.
She's the Santa Baby.
Really?
The Santa Baby song. She was the main, I guess, the first person to do that.
Oh. Well, I'll be damned. I did not know that.
Cool.
Well, yeah, so the woman who sings Santa Baby is Yzma, and sings a great Disney villain song. It's like 50s swing with some funk. It's great stuff. Like, I absolutely love it. Yeah. I forget what it's called, but you should look it up. Listen to it after you're done listening to this episode, because it's good stuff. She is part of the song. Kronk sells the potion to the old geezers, and they all trick themselves into thinking it's keeping them young and beautiful, though it has literally no effect whatsoever. And it's obvious, which is a real sticking point for me. We'll get to that. In the sewers, Yzma laughs because the potion is nothing but palace runoff slime, and she's tricking everyone because she is, of course, evil. We get another scene where Kuzco interjects with an unfunny little bit where he yells at the screen and points out her unshaven armpits because that's fun. Blah, blah, blah. The geezers, they need money for more potion. They sell the old folks' home to Kronk, who replaces it with a bigger, fancier home with all the fixins, including a train leading to pancakes called Pancake Junction. which is delightful. Again, kids movie, it shows. Not terrible, just not good.
Right, yeah.
He has
disappointing if you're older than 7.
Yeah, very much so. He has 2 assistants, Marge and Tina, who he dictates a letter to Papi. They aren't important, but they're part of my favorite bit in the entire movie, as we'll see shortly. Rudy comes in completely nude, his old man bits flapping about in the wind. He tells Kronk he sold his clothes and everything else he owns to be able to buy more potion, and that potion is like that sweet kush. He asks Kronk if Kronk can spare him any money. Kronk gives Rudy a potion, who briefly turns into Gollum over his love for potion, because that's topical 2005. So after bartering with the angel and devil for a little bit, Kronk realizes that Yzma's potion is in fact a fake, and he admits to Rudy that he swindled him, albeit accidentally. Rudy immediately forgives him, because kids movie and we've got a lot of story to get to. Kronk's got a lot of journey to not go on. And suddenly, after forgiving Kronk, Rudy remembers that, oh man, the rest of the geezers are about to elect Yzma Emperor, which Kronk comments is not an elective office. Now here is where I am going to nitpick. This is pretty fucking silly even for a kid's show. Because even suspending disbelief, it's just ridiculous. Yzma spends the entire first movie trying to become emperor, and briefly becoming emperor. I guess technically empress, but she says emperor. But in this movie, she gets to it by, like, tricking 8 old people, and she's almost emperor. And
why wouldn't she have gone about it that way the first time around?
Right. I was letting a lot of things slide before. Also, she's about to be, quote-unquote, about to be elected emperor. And where the fuck is Kuzco? He's nowhere to be seen. He's just off fucking one of his many Incan slaves, probably.
Well, to be fair, that's what I'd be doing.
Yeah, I mean, me too. He is 18 by that point. He's probably like 20 now.
I was talking about this with the missus recently.
Fucking Incan slaves? Really? What'd you have to say about it?
If I had a harem, there'd be one person at the bottom of the bunch, right? There'd be the lowest person on the totem pole. But because I'm kind of a good person, I'd still feel bad. Like, I'd prefer, like, the top tier harem girls. But every once in a while, I'd throw, ugly harem chick a pity fuck. Just out of, like, the goodness in my heart.
So you would literally throw her a bone, is what you're saying?
I would throw her a bone. But yeah, my wife
How'd your wife feel about that?
She didn't understand how good of a person that makes me, exactly.
Oh, by the way, folks, I know you can't see it, but we're having a video call this week, so we can actually see his glorious face, and his lovely wife just popped in, giving a suspicious look off screen.
She appears at the worst. When I say the most incriminating things.
Yeah, that was...
it's the worst.
Yeah, it's lovely, lovely wife, and unfortunately married to a harem-loving slob. Where would you keep your harem? In, like, a closet? Or do they have, like...
No. If I was, like, an emperor and I had a palace, I'd have, like, I guess a harem closet. Yeah. It'd be a nice closet.
Yeah. Because, they're... She keeps popping her head up to look angrily at you, and it's great. Yeah, because, like, in movies and stuff, they're always, like, in a big room together. Like, I feel like the last thing I want is my harem all together. I'm going to talk about how small my dick is. If I have a harem and their sole existence is to fuck me, all they're going to do is just be catty about how awful I am.
That's why every once in a while you execute one of them in front of the rest of them.
Yeah, but not the lowest of the pile, because you got to keep throwing her the pity bone. You got to find a middle one of the. You know what? I'm just going to continue. So the old folks.
Harem corner.
Harem corner. Oh, it's real cramped. The old folks suddenly
a corner
realize...
would probably be better than a closet. Okay, I'm sorry.
The old folks suddenly realize that they are, in fact, still fucking old, because they never change. And Yzma flees. We get a comedy chase scene where the old folks corner Yzma on a bridge. She threatens to jump, but there's a bunch of crocodiles at the bottom, and she goes, "No, wait, that's not right," which, that's pretty funny. Along the way, the geezers are, like, cashing up to her by riding skateboards and doing all kinds of cool young person stuff to show that, hey, maybe we didn't need the potion. We just needed to have a woman we wanted to violently murder in the street. with fucking Incan law in order to, regain our youth. And Kronk shows up and he tries to reinforce that, like, hey, look at all the cool stuff you guys are doing. And they're like, yeah, that is kind of cool, but we're still going to kill Yzma. Now, again, they're not saying they're going to kill Yzma, but whenever people in a kid's movie say, get him, they're getting them to fucking kill him. I mean,
yeah,
it's just not explicitly stating it, but yeah, they're trying to kill him. Yzma tells them she's got a potion, and she says, once I drink this, then we'll be able to lay a finger on me. And she drinks it and turns into a tiny, adorable bunny rabbit. And they all go, aw. And she says, haha, see, you can't lay a finger on me now. And a giant passing bird scoops her up in his talons and flies off.
Okay.
Rest in peace, Eartha Kitt. Rest in peace.
Oh, yeah.
The old folks tell Kronk that they live in an alley. And after some more debate with the angel and devil, Kronk gives up his big house in the hill back to the old folks. This is relatively pointless, other than to show that Kronk made the right choice. But this whole story about the house gives us the best joke of the entire movie.
Oh.
Because his two assistants, Marge and Tina, from literally that one scene earlier that was about 30 seconds long, they're completely unimportant except for this joke. They're crying as like he's giving away the house. Kronk tells them, oh, hey, don't worry, I'll help you get back on your feet. And they said, oh, no, we're fine. We've been contacted by a team of headhunters, betrayed by actual headhunters, which that's pretty good. I did like that. And they do like a good like gag where he's just kind of looking at it like, huh. Not the one I'm thinking of, but also very good. And that the reason they're crying is because they're touched that he gave up everything and is leaving and going back to his hut. He says it was the right thing to do, and I quote, when you think of your time here, don't cry for me, Marge and Tina. Which I fucking love. Don't cry for me, Marge and Tina.
That's pretty good.
That's fucking solid gold. Oh, man. 10 out of 10. Worth every second Marge and Tina were on screen, even though there was not actually very many seconds. Because they exist only for that joke. And whoever the hell wrote that one, God, a chorus of angels, chorus of harems speed you to your rest. Oh, man. That one really, like, I had to pause the movie because I was really laughing at that. That was fantastic. Don't cry for me, Marge and Tina. So we briefly cut back to the present, and by present, I'm talking the past present, not the present present.
Oh, God, Inception, man.
I mean the present where Kronk is explaining his life story in the restaurant, not the present present with the cheese explosion. We're not talking cheese present, we're talking past present. Are you fucking with me?
Wait, who are the white chicks?
Okay, so Damon Wayans is Kronk. No, it's just double flashback that it's ridiculous. Yeah. So Kronk launches into his next tale about a lost love. This is where, I mean, it sucked before, but boy, it really just hammers on the gas here to Suckville.
That's what I call the harem corner.
Suckville.
Suckville.
All aboard the train to Suckville. Shoot, shoot. All right, so let's talk about the Junior Chipmunks briefly. It's the Cub Scouts. Okay, good talk. So anyway, Kronk is a leader of the local Junior Chipmunk troop, of which Pacha's two children, Pacha's son and Pacha's daughter, that's their Christian names, are members. And they are Christians despite being Incas. They believe in our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. He died for your sins. Kronk's squirrel friend tells him via squeaking, he talks to squirrels.
Via squeaking?
He talks to squirrels. It's whatever.
Okay.
That a rival troop leader is making a play for the crown. I'm sorry, I missed the line. Kronk's scout troop was the camp champions for the last 2 years, and they're going for 3. They're at like some camp festival or some fucking nonsense. A tall lady troop leader named Birdwell, which this is really weird to me. She's voiced by Tracy Ullman.
Oh.
What the actual fuck?
Interesting.
Yeah, Tracy Ullman, for those of you who don't know, she is the one, her variety show is where The Simpsons got its start.
Yeah, they had like 5-minute short cartoon segments before they were regular length sitcom in like the late 80s.
I think she's like the first English actress to have like dual citizenship in England and America, I think. She's got like a weird, she's not a huge in the acting world, like she more portrays herself usually in like a lot of
she had a recent show, right? Like within this decade.
Yeah,
like, I don't know if it was a Hulu or a Netflix thing or something.
I think it was on HBO.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
I forget what it was called. I remember seeing commercials for it all the time when you watch like Game of Thrones and whatnot.
But she's still relevant. Even though,
she's not huge, but she is in the zeitgeist. Like it's enough that I knew who she was and was like taken aback. Like, wait, that's fucking Tracy Ullman?
If she was in the harem, she would not be the pity fuck.
No,
she'd be mid tier. Yeah,
she'd be like lower high tier.
Yeah,
she's a known actress. It's just odd. She's also in a movie, if you've ever seen it, Isaac, called Death Becomes Her, which is quite possibly one of the strangest fucking movies I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, yes, it is. I didn't realize she was in it.
Yeah, she's her and Meryl Streep.
She's the other. That's her.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, no, Goldie Hawn's in that too.
Wait,
Goldie Hawn's the other main lady.
Is it? Oh shit!
I think you're boned up.
Am I fucking knob? Did I knob it up?
Yeah, Goldie Hawn's the other woman who dies over and over again.
It's a fucking weird.
That is a weird movie. I remember seeing that when I was like 9 and just watching like Meryl Streep get like a shotgun hole through the chest or whatever, and like standing up with like a hole in her, and I was like, oh god, what is this?
Yeah. What the hell am I thinking of? Yeah, I guess I'm wrong. I'm so sorry. I thought, All right, well, I'm wrong. I'm totally wrong.
You need to reorganize your spank bank.
No, I'm not. Oh, okay. She is in Death Becomes Her in deleted scenes. She's not the other woman. Okay. I somehow got the... You know what? Fucking forget this whole bit. Tracy Ullman. Fuck it. Tracy Ullman's a woman. She's a lady. She's got a... Jesus Christ beard. She's got like a very stereotypical, "Oi, what's this then?" British voice, and I'm not being funny. Like that is how she sounds. Like, "Oh, it's me, Tracy Ullman. I'm here to be British and drink tea." That's a pretty good impression. I'm not trying to be mean. She sounds like that. So she's this rival troop leader. Her character is much like Tracy Ullman. She's prim and proper British lady, despite being in a South American jungle in the distant past.
Right.
Okay, whatever. I'm starting to tap out on Kronks New Groove at this point. And having seen this movie long before the conception of this podcast, it's like opening a Tupperware container that you farted in 5 years ago and like smelling that old stale fart. Everybody likes to smell their own farts. Like, I think it'd be a lie to say you don't, but
I love
this is like, jeez. I farted in this.
Every once in a while I have a fart I'm ashamed of.
Oh, I have some of those. My best friend and I were both in my car the other day, and we both farted and didn't tell the other, and both realized, nah, shit, that smells like both of our farts together.
You could tell they were mingled? Could you, like, the disparate, like, odors?
We have spent a lot of time together. We have farted in a lot of the same confined spaces. I mean, I swear to God, we're the closest thing to being a married couple that straight men can be. It's really almost depressing. So Birdwell, that is Tracy Ullman's character's name. Birdwell's troop is a prim and proper, sophisticated bunch, while Kronk's troop is a bunch of rowdy idiots who follow Kronk's motto of keep the focus on fun, which really hammers the point home that this is a movie for 8-year-olds. We get some pointless swimming stuff showing the differences between the troops when Kronk and Birdwell cross paths because she accidentally knocks him over with her ceremonial staff, even though she's a fucking Cub Scout leader, and she asks if he's hurt. He looks her up and down and starts describing her features as he's like immediately falling in love with her because that's how fucking love works. Excuse me. And he's describing her features. He describes her feet as landlocked tugboats, which may be the best description for anything ever, so kudos there. I don't know what the fuck a landlocked tugboat is, but it's a great description.
Yeah.
They perform some complex Junior Chipmunk handshake and are just immediately in love. Like, they have no other story. They're just in love right away. Just, what the hell? You've heard me go on about fucking Love, Wedding, Marriage for, I think that episode was 6 hours long, so I don't need to get into it again, but this kind of shit annoys me. Again, I'm just kind of taking it for granted because it's a movie for 8-year-olds. it just, again, it's so hollow knowing what came before and how good it was than to fucking this, which is a pale imitation.
Right, and you don't need a love story.
No.
Like Emperor's New Groove didn't have a love story because it just doesn't belong.
I'm pretty sure Kuzco technically is a Disney princess.
Yeah, and like some movies have a love story that's central and important. Like Aladdin is a good example of that, where it works. But yeah, just shoehorning it in. Oh, it's so. Ugh.
Kronks New Groove is this series of vignettes, and it like does the movie a lot of disservice because of that. There's no.
Yeah, I feel like I don't know anything that's happened yet.
You don't. Nothing's happened. He's talking about. He used to have a big house. We saw the story about that. That's it. That's all that's happened. Now he's about to have a girlfriend, and we're going to see how he fumbles that up with his big, stupid fucking Inca hands. I don't know that I'm racist against Incas,
fucking Inca,
but I think I can be racist against Incas because they don't exist anymore.
Yeah, I think that. Well, I wouldn't be so sure. You never know.
Yeah,
they might be hiding out with the Nazis at the South Pole.
Oh yeah, or at the center of the Earth.
Yep, or the moon.
God, the Nazis are just everywhere. So yeah, Kronk kids, as Kronk and Birdwell are like talking about how they're gonna fuck, Kronk's kids do a giant cannonball, splashing all of Birdwell's kids out of the pool. She freaks out as her kids might have gotten hurt, even though they were like thrown 2 feet out of water onto a very safe beach. So she just as quickly falls out of love with Kronk, and she eventually has the Kronk gang disqualified from this event.
For fuck's sake.
I know, it's just, it's so dull. There's nothing to talk about. The Kronk kids tell Kronk they don't want to lose the trophy, as do the Birdwell kids with Birdwell. Kronk, 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 Birdwell, Birdwell, Kronk, Birdwell, Kronk, Kronk, Kronk. How many, can we have a Kronk counter for how many times I fucking said Kronk in this goddamn movie? We get back and forths from both Kronk and Birdwell in their respective tents, psyching themselves up to compete with the other despite their burgeoning love. I'm falling asleep at the wheel. They're gonna go hard against the other, basically, until they just violently hate fuck in the middle of the games, because that's where it's leading towards, is like, when you hate someone so much that eventually it's just like, I love you so much out of hate that we're just gonna hate fuck. So that's, yeah.
That's my relationship with Donald Trump at this point. I imagine it'll end in sex.
Are you going to give or receive? Don't answer. Let's let the kids figure that one out.
Yeah, tweet in what you think.
Please add Donald Trump to that tweet.
I just imagine if we got in a Twitter war with Trump. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, that would be fun. So, honestly, like I said, folks, this is just bog standard stuff. Gone is the cleverness of Emperor's New Groove. Replaced with any of the same crap in any bargain bin kids movie you can find anywhere about basic morals, like basic moral structure. It's technically fine. There's not really anything wrong with it. It's just for kids, and it's not good. It's not a bad kids movie. It's just not a good movie for anyone else. It's so boring. Nothing happens. There's no stakes. The stakes in this movie are a goddamn thumbs up from a dwarf. If I wanted to see dwarf stuff, I'd watch David Lynch. Yeah, his father's a dwarf. We're going to do it. I'm having trouble finding anything to say at all that's not just me bitching about the same things over and over. But it's just low-level kid stuff. Yeah, like, Leo the Lion was just complete confusing chaos from every second. There's just nightmare imagery and fucking Nazi elephants and the greatest villain in movie history, but that's neither here nor there. This is just boredom personified. I wanted to hate it, but this show works.
Yeah, it's interesting because it has the Disney talent and budget behind it that it basically can't be that bad.
Right, like it's frustrating. Like I wanted to be frothing and vitriolic, but I'm just sort of like, oh man, it's not terrible. It's not good. I knew it was never going to be good, but it's not terrible.
A little tease for next week. My movie, which is the Netflix original starring Kevin James, a similar situation, honestly.
Oh, God.
Where, like, it was fine. It was fine.
Huh. That is interesting.
Yeah, well, stay tuned for next Sunday. We'll talk all about it. But very similar to And I guess that's sort of the same thing, because Netflix just has the budget and has actually talented writers and people to do cinematography and editing, that it can't be too bad, even when it's not good.
Yeah, I really wanted to hate it, and I couldn't, and that's the part that really, like, made my spirits sink, because it's technically not hate-worthy. It's just, that sucks.
Mm-hmm.
So we get a montage of both troops competing, and evening up the score until there's a tiebreaker round, which is a cheer-off between both teams, like cheerleading, which is weird, but okay. Kronk fires up his kids, and we get a small arc with Pacha's son, who has his own little angel and devil on his shoulder. Not funny. Okay. That eventually he realizes he's going to cheat to win, because that's what Kronk wants him to do, even though it's definitely not. So Kronk and Birdwell are pushing their kids to the limit in order to win the trophy and prove to the other that they have the bigger dick and or clitoris. Now, lady listeners, write in and let me know if you compare machismo by clit size, because honestly, I have no idea how y'all judge your manliness if you don't have a big striking adult dick to compare to.
Also, female listeners, write in and let me know where the clitoris is. They've been trying to find it, and I can't.
I don't like that I said the words big swinging adult dick, and my dog walked up to me in the dark and started licking my toes.
He's like, where's the peanut butter?
That's a bad sign. What kind of life did you have before I got you? So Kronk and Birdwell... No, boy, come on, back off. Now he's being a pest. Kronk and Birdwell are both individually making raisin bread for their kids, because the only thing that can cheer a chipmunk up is raisin bread. Somehow their ingredients get mixed up with one another, and during an argument over a box of raisins... Don't you start, motherfucker. During an argument over a box of raisins, Birdwell starts to cry. There's like this unspoken subplot that Birdwell is like terribly lonely. It never gets explored except by Kronk's shoulder angel. And it's odd. I don't know. I don't like it. Birdwell sucks. So they make up and have hot Disney cartoon sex in the form of erotically baking raisin bread. I mean, it might not be that erotic looking back on it, but I choose to get my kicks where I can.
Wow. Oh, yeah, okay.
There's no Rule 34 of Kronk and Birdwell. I did check. There's a lot of Kronk fucking Cusco in his asshole. Okay, but seriously, though, they play an Earth, Wind, and Fire song. I freaking love Earth, Wind, and Fire, so I'm all about it. There's no other Disney songs in this movie besides the one that Yzma sings. They do get songs from like actual real songs. This is a great Earth, Wind, and Fire song. I can't remember the name of it because I'm a schmuck, but it's I love it. And they do some real like hardcore thrust dancing back and forth. Like, it's not entirely pelvic thrusty, but I mean, like, it's a little racy, and it's pretty innocent. But like, knowing how much they wanted to hate fuck a minute ago, it's hard not to see like the inherent eroticism is like they're doing the ghost bit with the bread, pretty much. By the ghost bit, I mean the movie with Whoopi Goldberg, and I don't remember the actual actor and actress in the scene.
Patrick Swayze.
Oh, it is
Demi Moore.
Swayze. Wow.
And I've never seen that movie. I'm supposed to. It's supposedly good.
Yeah, the scene, you've all fucking seen it, with like, he's a ghost, and he's guiding her making the clay pot, and it's erotic as fuck, and he's fucking her with his ghost dick, basically. It's like that. So it's kind of like...
Now, I just got to point out, when I gave you this Disney movie, I never thought your review would contain the words inherent eroticism. Was not on my radar.
Well, you, sir, do not know Kronk. He gets his dick wet.
Oh, Kronks New Groove.
Oh, my God. Is that what he calls her? You know what? Nope.
Oh, that's a good word for vagina, groove. Why don't we do that? We should start that.
Yeah, baby, I'm going to put it right in your groove tonight. I got to get me some new groove. What the fuck did you just say? They do a Michael Jackson
the old groove.
Dance.
Emperor's old groove. There's nothing wrong with the old groove.
The old wine. They do a slight Michael Jackson dance, which I appreciate. It's fine, whatever. We get a great song background, so fine. Following the erotic bread making, they part ways amicably, where they both furiously flick their respective beans until orgasm in their tents, almost certainly. The next morning, the troops come together to end the feud. They choose to compete honorably for the title and not fight anymore, but Pacha's son, who's not around to hear it, is making itching powder to fuck up the Birdwell Troops performance. At the performance, blah, 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 Kronk gets Birdwell a monogrammed pair of oven mitts that he makes off-screen, I guess, to signify their budding relationship. The Kronk gang does their dance routine, which is not at all worth mentioning. And in the middle of it, Ponch's son sneaks off and puts itching powder in the Birdwell team's hand chalk, because, okay. Ironically, Kronk urges them to chalk up so they don't get hurt, so we can see what's going to be happening here. During the Birdwell performance, the itching takes effect, and Birdwell falls into the mud. We find that Ponch's kid has done the deed as he left a bag with his name on it behind, right by the itching chalk. So, whatever. More talk with the angel and devil, and Kronk decides to step in and take the wrath of Birdwell so as to, get Pacha off, because he's 6 years old and taking the rap, even though he did do it. She's betrayed, and she returns his oven mitts and tells him never to call on her again, and storms off. And that's the end of Birdwell. So we hope. And so, we return to the present, and you know the gag, the non-cheese present, the present in the past. At this point, Papi is on his way to the restaurant, and Kronk realizes he spent all day telling his stupid fucking stories instead of crafting a valid lie for his father, like any son should be able to tell their aging old man who is trying to cling to some scrap of glory. Definitely not speaking from personal experience, but we all have done it. So suddenly he gets an idea. Kronk asks Pacha if he can borrow his house and wife. Chicha says, right. I'm sorry, excuse me, because Chicha's character trait is that she's the only, real person who has actual character and, is actually a human and not a cartoon character, basically. So, yeah, I feel like I have to explain who these fucking characters are again because this movie's been nothing but goddamn pointless flashbacks. But they're from the first movie. Why do I care? God damn it. It saddens me because they're the best part of the first movie. The first movie's so good. Just watch the first one. Don't watch Kronks New Groove. It makes me sad. So Pacha convinces Chicha and the kids to go along with this scheme where they're going to pretend to be Kronk's wife and kids, while he himself runs off on some kind of harebrained scheme of his own. And his son, Pacha's son, which is his character's name now and forever, also leads with his own harebrained scheme, but we don't get to see what that's about yet. Papi enters the restaurant, and we see that he is, in fact, a dwarf. And Kronk, for those of you who don't know, is 7 feet tall. So Papi being a dwarf is supposed to be a funny bit, but it is not. Papi is indeed the machismo-driven, chauvinistic, douchebaggy kind of dad that Kronk described him as. Honestly, I expected, after all his build-up, for him to be, super nice, and this to be just a fucking play on whatever, but no, he's a dick. He's a massive twat. So, Kronk lies about the house and Chicha, and as Papi is about to give the thumbs up, Pacha bursts in, dressed as a woman, attempting to be Mrs. Kronk. Now, as Chicha has already reluctantly taken up the role of Kronk's wife, Kronk instead introduces the cross-dressed Pacha as Chicha's mother. We then get the trope of Papi immediately getting a hot nut for, quote-unquote, her. So, Papi wants to fuck Pacha, and as we know, Pacha has a penis, and Papi has a penis, so they can only make the pee-pee sex and not the pee-pee coochie sex, so that's a bad thing, because Walt Disney, I think he hated the gays and the Jews.
He hated a lot of things.
Yeah, he's kind of he's kind of my hero. Not my hero. I mean, a monster. No, he's not my hero. He's a piece of shit. So yeah, Pacha's son runs into Rudy, the old man, in the street and explains the situation before he runs off. Rudy calls the geezers together and they head to the restaurant to aid their old pal Kronk. 15 minutes left. Just hang tight. Papi reminds Kronk that cooking is a terrible idea and that he's glad that he doesn't cook anymore, but he starts demanding food which will never come because Kronk is, of course, the chef. Mudka warns Kronk that tonight is fondue night, and if he doesn't make the hungry crowd some fondue, they'll literally rip him to pieces and grind his bones to make their bread.
Okay.
She doesn't say that, but she implies it. I took some creative liberties.
Or at least someone did.
That's my creative liberty, because even I'm out of funny jokes at this point. It's just sucked all the humor and joy out of me, like a big ball of cum out of my dick or something. I don't know.
Your cum comes out in balls?
Yeah, that scans. That joke scans. Kronk's cooking the fondue, but leaves it on too long in his haste to run back out to Papi to keep the charade alive. As he returns to Papi, Rudy, in a dress, dives into Kronk's arms, pretending to be his wife. A series of mishaps ensue from here, where all of Kronk's friends from earlier in the movie, including A-plus joke material Margentina, show up claiming to be either Kronk's wife and or kids, finished off by Kuzco himself bursting onto the scene in a dress, literally winking to the crowd about how he weaseled his way into the movie because he really needed this paycheck. The mountain of coke became a hill, and he needed to build that motherfucker back up. We finally get resolution on the cheese explosion, and we rejoin the movie where it began, an exploding restaurant full of cheese. Kronk steps up to his father and admits that everything up till now was a lie. Kronk says he's a failure and has nothing, when one of Pacha's kids comes up and says, "But Kronk, you've got us," and I swear to fucking God, when I watched this movie yesterday, I cried real tears because I'm as emotionally fragile right now as a beautiful porcelain deer on an old lady's shelf. My tears are not any indication that this scene was particularly moving or anything. I'm just incredibly emotionally unstable. Also, I actually do cry in movies and shows all the time, and I can't believe I shed a real fucking tear at Kronks New Groove. I need help. Someone send me help.
I'm very similar. Like, I sobbed like a bitch at the end of Moana in the movie theater.
God. I was at home, and I was crying tears at that,
Yeah, so, I don't know. I don't know if I'd cry at Kronks New Groove, but I wouldn't be surprised if I did.
The little girl saying, "But Kronk, you have us," just my fucking heart. I was like, I'm going to die with no children alone, and that thought makes me really sad.
You just get a van.
When the... all the children I can eat. Exactly. When the new season of BoJack comes out in September, I'm just not going to be able to leave the house. I'm going to be just in a river of tears. All of Kronk's friends tell Papi of the things he gave up in order to protect them, and Kronk finally accepts that, you know what, my life is pretty great as it is, and you know what, Papi, you can fuck off. But Papi finally gives him the goddamn thumbs up. So, we're almost done. But apparently not, because Pacha's son has brought, you guessed it, Mrs. Birdwell. She's shown up to just get back with Kronk with no explanation whatsoever.
Of course.
And, I mean, none. I mean, "Oh, Kronk, Pacha's son explained to me what happened." Or, "Oh, Kronk, I've thought about it and you're great." No, it's basically, "Oh, Kronk, I love you. I gotta get some more of that sweet ink and dick, so I'm back to get it. Now fuck me, you giant animal!"
Sweet ink and dick.
So we get a reprisal of the opening song, and we see that Yzma is about to be eaten alive by two giant birds as this movie finally ends. So that's Kronks New Groove. I said, its biggest crime is just being boring. It's
what happened?
Nothing.
I don't remember you talking about a movie.
His dad gave him a thumbs up. He told a story about how he had things that his dad would give him a thumbs up about, and then he didn't have the things, and then his friends say, "But Kronk, you're a good person," and his dad's like, "Hey, you know what, kid, here you go, thumbs up, movie over." That's it. That's the plot.
Wow.
It's like, really, it's fine. For a kid's movie, it's fine. It's perfectly acceptable for children 10 or under.
I don't think I've seen any other Disney sequels. Like Aladdin 2 or Lion King 2 or anything even. Are they as devoid of plot as this?
No, they have plot. Not good plot, but they have plot.
Right.
Like Mulan 2 has plot. Lion King 2 has plot. Aladdin 2 is actually not bad. Aladdin 3...
I've heard that, actually. Yeah,
Alibaba and the 40 Thieves, I kind of have vaguely fond memories of. I haven't seen it since I was, 11, but I kind of remember it being okay. And people say Return of Jafar is not bad either. And, I think is Dory Disney? Is Nemo Disney?
Pixar.
Okay, never mind.
So it's sort of...
People really like Finding Dory, and that's a sequel.
Yeah, well, Pixar is different.
Yeah.
Because they do sequels well. Toy Story 2, Toy Story 3.
Right. Never saw either of those.
See 3.
Yeah.
2 you could miss.
Yeah.
2's good, but 3's worth seeing. Definitely.
Yeah, that's what people say. I know people who, hard-nosed people who've, shed tears at Toy Story 3.
Oh, yeah. You will cry.
Oh, God.
The conveyor belt scene?
Don't.
You'll cry.
Don't, man. I have enough tears. No more tears. Johnson & Johnson, baby.
Our new advertiser.
That's the thing, is that, like, this is not a movie. It's like episodes of a TV show with Kronk.
Yeah.
Which, considering there was a TV show at the same time as this, I bet you any money they had 2 extra episodes that didn't fit Cusco, and they're like, let's just fucking throw that shit on Kronk. Seriously, because it's just the same gags. It's the same bits from the first movie.
Yeah.
And the first movie, they're great. When Kronk, like, puts his whole thing together, oh yeah, it's all coming together. It's awesome stuff. But here, all I have is Don't Cry For Me, Argentina, and that's it. That's my only laugh. The rest of it was just... I might got a brief smile, or I thought the song was good. Well, both songs were good. All 3 songs were pretty good. But it's just...
And you couldn't find a budget for this one, right?
No.
That's disappointing, because I'm curious. Was it like $2 million or $10 million?
Yeah, I'm curious compared to the first one, too. Well, they also knew that this one was going to be...
direct to video.
Yeah, they went into it knowing that, but...
Yeah.
Well, there is one more thing I have to talk about. It's a little heavy.
Yeah. All right, go for it.
Just let me get through this. All right, so as you may have kind of guessed from me talking about my life and myself, I don't have a great family connection, and especially my connection with my father is really weird. It's very difficult. It's like I have trouble like seeking approval. I kind of fill in. My whole life I've sort of filled in father figures. Like my old boss, I'm very close with, and he told me he treats me and my best friend like his kids, and it means a lot to me. And I have a great stepdad, former stepdad, but we still consider him that. And I have a lot of like family stuff is kind of hard for me, and I get kind of like I have a lot of strained relations with family, and especially like I have a lot of stuff like around my father. That's really kind of deep and kind of goes back a long ways. And I'm the only one in our family who talks to him still. And it's kind of, I've always been kind of looking for something there. So when I saw Kronk get the big thumbs up from fucking Papi.
Larry.
When I was watching Kronks,
did your heart grow 3 sizes that day?
Oh my god. Oh no, I had no emotional connection to Kronks New Groove.
Okay.
None of that was a lie, but there was no
Right, Kronks New Groove did not move you.
No, in no way.
Yeah, have me going.
Oh,
I was like, God. Wait, did Kronks New Groove really move Larry? Did it stir his soul?
I was thinking about that. I was washing the dishes last night, and I was thinking, like, to tell a really emotional story and then say, and when I was watching Kronks New Groove.
And it's so perfect because just like the dwarf dad giving the thumbs up is like the dumbest thing.
It's the worst kind of approval. It means
I know.
Nothing.
A thumbs up.
Oh, man.
Like, unless a thumb is up your asshole, it doesn't count as approval.
That's the best kind of approval.
Oh, God.
Okay.
All right, so
this is going on long enough.
I think what we should do is do our rating 1 out of 10 at the beginning of the review, and then again at the end of the review. So you where did you come in? You were at a 4, then you moved it to a 3. Where are you sitting now?
Let's say, yeah. You know what? Let's say 4 is what because I waffled because you kind of caught me off guard with that one. I didn't give it real thought. Right. I would say initially it'd be a 4. I'm gonna say honestly still a 4.
And that's the highest of any of the movies you've seen, higher than Cabin Fever?
I'm gonna say a 3. I mean, like, that's the thing. This one's kind of, it's the same thing with both of those. Like, this one for me is kind of hard because I recognize that it is a perfectly acceptable kids movie. I just didn't like it. I couldn't hate it, though. Like, that's when I'm giving it for me. It probably deserves a 5 for what it is. I would give it, I'm going to say a 3, because it's...
Right, okay. That's fair, too. And same with Cabin Fever, because you are absolutely not a horror person.
No, not at all. And it's not even that horrifying. It's just, I recognize that this is probably okay. Like, comparing the two, Kronks New Groove is better at being okay than Cabin Fever is. Like, I recognize that Cabin Fever probably wasn't technically bad, I just didn't like it. Mm-hmm. The same thing with Kronks New Groove, but this one... No, Cabin Fever was better, because Kronks New Groove has shoes to fill that it doesn't fill.
Right, yeah, that's part of the problem, just being a sequel.
Being the child of greatness, it's really just falls flat on its face. Like, it doesn't hold a candle to Emperor's New Groove in any way. Whereas Cabin Fever was just like, it's a horror movie, and you know what? It wasn't as terrible as some other horror movies. And I can see points where there was some actual thought put into things. Whereas this is just, let's rehash the same jokes. And that, technically, because they're good jokes, that technically makes it better than, like, Leo the Lion, for example. Mm-hmm. I've had turds better than Leo the Lion, so...
I'd rather watch one of your turds for 80 minutes than Leo the Lion.
Oh, yeah, it puts on a hell of a show.
Just bubbling and festering in the toilet. All right. Any final thoughts?
No, that's it. I'm disappointed. I want to hate Isaac. I want to hate myself and the movie and you. That's when things are good.
I think in about 2 weeks you'll be hating again. You'll be hating a lot.
You've hinted, and I'm scared.
Oh yes.
I'm scared.
So, but we'll reveal what you're watching for episode 17 next week on episode 16. But for now, that's the end of episode 15. So, thank you for listening. You could find us online at Twitter and Facebook. Those are both at Bowels of Netflix. You can send us an email if you like, bowelsofnetflix@gmail.com. And just a quick thank you to Kevin MacLeod from Incompetech.com, where we get all our awesome music from. There's full full links and stuff in the description. So if you have a creative project, you could check out his website, use some of his music. It's royalty-free. And stay tuned for next week, because we'll be talking about True Memoirs of an International Assassin, starring one Kevin James, a Netflix original.
The King of Queens himself, baby. He's back on the big screen.
King of fucking shit, but surprisingly not that bad. Not that bad. It's weird. I don't know.
Weird 2 weeks. Weird. This is gonna be.
Absolutely. But thank you so much for listening. We'll see you next Sunday.
Smell you later.